The Quran advocates equality between all and says that the only good deeds may rise the status of one human over another. In Bible you can see, you shall do not injustice in court, you shall not be partial to the poor or differ to the great, but in righteousness shall you judge your neighbor. The Vedas teach equality among the people in society. No one is superior or no one is inferior. Let me ask you some question. How sympathetic you are in your life? Are you just following all the religious beliefs that you are upholding in your life? Once again, have you ever thought that you being a tool for making a person transform for better? How do you treat people? There are different kinds of people in our society. Rich, poor, betrayed, sick, all types of people, beggars, relatives. So many types of people around us. How do you treat people? Have you ever just regret in your life for mistreating any other people in your life? Human beings are born and was created to show equality among human beings. We need to love, we need to understand, we need to show compassion to one another. In the lesson The Rattrap, written by Selma Lagerlof, we can see that all these qualities, all these questions are well answered. The lesson Rattrap for class 12 was written by Selma Lagerlof. She was born in the year 1858, died in the year 1940. She was a Swedish writer. Her stories have been translated into many languages. To know much about the author, we see that a universal theme runs through all of them, a belief that essential goodness in human being can be awakened through understanding and love. That's why I told that the lesson Rattrap upholds all these themes in her stories. Even the writings of the Selma Lagerlof, we can see the goodness in human being that is awakening through understanding and love. In the year 1968, we'll see one of the biggest quality that Selma Lagerlof had in her life. She was at the age of 10. She completed reading the Bible. At that time, her father was very ill and she hoped that God would heal her father if she read the Bible from cover to cover. Her father lived for another 17 years. And from that time onwards, she became accustomed to the language of scripture from an early age. That's maybe one of the reasons why she is upholding the quality of being compassionate to one another. Only human beings can show sympathy and love to one another. We are created and we are born for that. Some of the best stories that you see about the author: the Holy Night, the Emperor's Vision, the Wise Men's Well, Bethlehem's Children, the Flight into Egypt, in Nazareth, and in the temple. If you get time, just go through this because these stories is considered to be some of the best stories of Selma Lagerlof. Okay, and now coming to the lesson Rattrap. And this story or this lesson is set amidst the mines of Sweden, rich in iron ore, which figure large in the history and legends of that country. The story is told somewhat in the manner of a fairy tale. And another thing that we come across the life of this Selma is, during her childhood days, her grandmother used to say a lot of stories and fairy tales to this Selma. And this is one of the reasons why her story has got an impulse of fairy tale. And in this Rattrap also you can see such a line of reciting story in the style of fairy tale. Okay, and now let's see some of the characters that is represented in the story The Rattrap. First one is a peddler. A peddler is a homeless person, a wanderer. He moves from one place to another and his main work is selling rat traps. You may be knowing rat traps. Okay, and he just lives by begging and also doing some petty thievery. Another character is the crofter. Crofter means it's a farmer who works in one of the iron mills of that particular area, prominent iron mill of that particular area. Okay, now he is old. In the story we see that the crofter is old and he is unable to do any job in iron mill, so he just leads a life with the help of his cow. So he is calling his cow as Bossy. Okay, so he's the second character that you see in the story, a crofter, a farmer, okay, who lives a life with the help of his cow. The third person that we go through this lesson is the ironmaster. Ironmaster is the person who runs an iron mill. The name of the iron mill is Ramsjow Iron Mill. Okay, and that iron mill was considered to be one of the prominent iron mill in that place. And this peddler comes to meet this ironmaster. Okay, then the next person is Ella Wilmanson. Ella Wilmanson is the heroine, or we see that she is the main character who just depicts the theme highlighted all throughout the stories of Selma. She is an epitome of sympathy, compassion, love, care, kindness, soul, and all the good qualities that a human being needs to possess in life. Because of her timely interaction, or because of her timely intervention with the peddler that helped him a lot. In another person that we see in the lesson is the master blacksmith. Okay, master blacksmith, he is a worker in the iron mill. His attitude is entirely different from the attitude of the ironmaster, Ella. And he is sympathizing, or he just epitomizes the rude attitude of human being in total. Okay, so these are the main characters that we comes across. And there are other very minute characters also, just like an assistant, attendant, likewise, that we see as we go through the lesson. Okay, now coming to the theme of the lesson. This lesson just highlights how kindness, compassion, and trust can transform a person. And also it just highlights the negative effects of loneliness in life. This loneliness is experienced by 2-3 characters of the story that we'll come to know as the story progresses. And also it just shows about our approach towards others. That's one of the reasons why I just quoted some words from the holy books. What's our approach towards others? How do we treat people? And also the last point, that is the main point. The story is highlighting the worldly riches can blind a person and put him into trouble. This is something that we are now experiencing. People are running after money, running after fame, possessions in life. So because of all this reason, we fail to understand, we fail to see relationships. We fail to see human beings as one among us. So this is one of the main important things that the world is now running behind. We are not able to see what goodness is and what bad is, as we are behind the worldly riches. Okay, so these are the main important themes that is highlighted throughout the lesson, the rat trap. Okay, even the name rat trap, you may think that it may be a lesson or a story that talks about trapping a rat. Okay, but we see that a great important intuition is given through the lesson by calling all human beings as rat trap, who is eagerly waiting to get into a bait. Okay, so I want you to think whether you are like the rat who is waiting for a bait to be touched and caught in the trap. Okay, let's not be the person who is running behind the worldly riches. Okay, so these are some of the main important things that we see through the lesson, the rat trap. Okay, and also before starting this lesson, the story is, as I told you, the rat trap is a short story about an old disheartened beggar and a thief who was shown generosity by a lady. The name of the lady is Ella Wilmanson, as we have seen. Her kindness and her approach towards this peddler changes his life for better. This is the sum and substance of the lesson, the rat trap. Okay, and it was written in the style of a fairy tale. Sometimes you may not be able to digest as a story. You may feel like a fairy tale. Anyhow, this is the core of the lesson, the generosity shown by Ella Wilmanson towards this rat trap seller. He is a beggar. Okay, so take your textbook, all of you. Let's see what the first paragraph talks about. Once upon a time, there was a man who went around selling small rat traps of wire. He made them himself at odd moments from the materials he got by begging in the stores or at the big farms. But even so, the business was not especially profitable. So he had to resort to both begging and petty thievery to keep body and soul together. Even so, his clothes were in rags, his cheeks were sunken, and hunger gleamed in his eyes. Okay, so what we see in this first paragraph is all about, we see a seller of small rat traps, or a rat trap seller. And what is particular about or peculiar about this rat traps is this rat trap is made by a beggar. Okay, and we see that you might have noticed that how the lesson just opens like it was like a fairy tale or just like a story. So it says that once upon a time there was a man who went selling small rat traps of wire. Just like the beginning of a story, this lesson also starts with telling that there was a time once man lived selling what? Selling small rat traps of wire. Okay, so these rat traps or this trap for rat is made by using what? Wires. It's not made of wood or small iron rod, nothing like that, but it was just made of wires. That too shows that how cheap these rat traps are. Okay, and how he got these materials for, he used materials got by begging. And so here it says that the rat traps were made by himself, especially during the free times. That's why it says that he went selling around small rat traps of oil. He made himself at odd times. Odd time means whenever he get free time, a short period of free time. And during the times he used to make this rat trap with the material that he got by begging where? In the stores or at the big farms. Okay, but what happened? It was not profitable for him. Selling these rat traps and leading a life is not possible because it's not profitable. And you might just think about how people just react or how people just face a person like this rat trap seller. Definitely they won't get ready to buy things from this man. So that's where it says that his business was not profitable. So what he need to do in order to lead a life? Here we see that because of this reason, he had to beg or steal in order to survive. That's where it says that he resort means what? He just put himself for what? For begging as well as for thievery. Thievery means what? He was forced to beg as well as forced to steal. Simple little things. Petty means small things that he sees around whenever he visit a shop. There sometimes he see wires, he took, isn't it? He took it and then he made this rat trap. So that's how he makes this rat traps. And now here we again see that even so his clothes were in racks. Racks means torn clothes. Okay, so his business was not profitable and he has no basic amenities in life. Then he was forced for stealing in order to lead a livelihood. And he made this rat trap with the materials that he got by begging. Okay. And now the appearance of the peddler, what we see here is the clothes were in racks. Racks means torn clothes. And his cheeks were sunken. Okay. His cheeks were sunken. Sunken means lowered. Then hunger gleamed in his eyes. Once you look at this person, at the very moment itself, we can just feel like he is ill-fed and he is not fed properly. That is, he is starving because he is not having enough money or he is not getting good money after selling this rat traps. So, due to malnutrition, his cheeks were lowered and one could easily see the hunger in his eyes. Okay, so that is what the first paragraph just talks about. The seller of a small rat traps, how his appearance looked like, everything. Okay, next paragraph. No one can imagine how sad and monotonous life can appear to such a vagabond who plods along the road left to his own meditation. But one day, this man had fallen into a line of thought which really seemed to him entertaining. He had naturally been thinking of these rat traps when suddenly he was struck by the idea that the whole world about him, the whole world with his lands and seas, his cities and villages, was nothing but a big rat trap. It had never existed for any other purpose than to set baits for people. It offered riches and joys, shelter and food, heat and clothing, exactly as the rat trap offered cheese and pork, and as soon as anyone let himself be tempted to touch the bait, it closed in on him, and then everything came to an end. So what this second paragraph just talks about the whole world of a rat trap. Okay? It says that the whole world is considered to be a rat trap. That was just said in the whole second paragraph. But the beginning of the second paragraph, we see that how he led his life. What was his life is all about. Here we see that this man led a simple, monotonous life. That's what it says, that no one can imagine how sad and monotonous life can appear to such a vagabond. It says that no one can able to understand how dull, sad, lonely life is. Monotonous means dull, lonely life. Okay? Then it says that only a person who is experiencing this loneliness, sadness, and dullness in life can only realize how pathetic it is to lead a lonely life. Especially for a person like this peddler. Peddler means a person who is considered to be a vagabond. Vagabond means a wanderer, a vagrant. A vagrant means a person who moves from one place to another, a homeless person. Okay? So, being a homeless person, he is a beggar as well as he is selling rat traps made of cheap materials like wires. So, he is leading lonely, sad, dull life. And because of all these reasons, no one showed any sympathy to him. So what he does, here it says that he plods along the road. He plods means he walks along the road left to his own meditation. So just moves on all alone through the road thinking something else in his mind. Okay, this is the life of this rat trap seller or the peddler. Okay, then we see that, but one day this man had fallen into a line of thought which really seemed to him entertaining. So as he was just moving all along through the road, one day as he was walking, a thought came about in his mind. And what was the thought? He assumed, what is that? He naturally been thinking of his rat traps when suddenly he was struck by the idea that the whole world about him, the whole world with its land, seas, cities and village was nothing but a big rat trap. So what was the meditation? Meditation or thought that came into his mind? That the whole world is a rat trap. He is just comparing the whole world to a rat trap. And it says that the whole world means what? The whole world includes what? The lands, seas, cities, villages, everything. It is all about just like a rat trap. And why he calls this world as a rat trap? Why he thought, as he was just looking on his rat trap, this thought came into his mind. Why he was thinking like this? Because it says that it had never existed for any other purpose than to set baits for the people. Okay, so here it says that why he was just thinking like that is the whole world is setting a bait. What is bait? Bait means a trap, a food that is kept in a trap. Especially you know that in a rat trap people used to keep cheese or pork just to attract whom? Attract the rat. In order to trap the rat inside the box, they will keep this food materials that is very attractive and delicious for the rat. So just likewise, the peddler now says that the whole world is offering what all things as baits, as joys, happiness, riches, shelter, food, heating, clothing, etc. were considered to be a bait for the people in this world. Once you are attracted towards these joys, happiness, riches, shelter, food, heat and clothing, slowly and steadily you also just go towards the trap. Okay, and here it says that once you touch the bait, it just put you into the trap. So here it says that it had never existed for any other purpose than to set baits for the people. And the bait that is offered by the world is the said things, joys, happiness, everything. And once you are just attracted towards this, you will be trapped. That means we are not satisfied with the life that we are leading on. We always wanted to enrich our life by getting more things. We are just making ourselves greedy. Because of this greediness, We always wanted something more than what we need in our life. So, just for having all these facilities and this happiness, joys in our life, we'll cross the limit and we put ourselves into a trap. And it says that just like in a trap where cheese and pork is kept in order to attract a rat, likewise the world is offering joys, happiness, riches, everything for the people. Once you are addicted and attracted towards that, you are putting yourself into this trap. And this is what the meditation that comes into his mind. Okay? So then here it says that, and why he thought like that? Here it says that this world was not being kind to him, of course. And it gave joy to think ill of it. And here we see that actually he was very happy just to think that some of the people who touched the bait, somebody who already caught into this dangerous trap, and some yet to get into this trap. So it says that the world had of course never been kind to him. So it gave him unusual joy to think ill of it in this way. And it says that it became a cherished pastime of his during many dreary plottings to think of people he knew who had let himself them to be caught in the dangerous snare, or of others who were still circling the bait. Okay, so there are some people who already been addicted to this choice and they have put themselves into this bait. And some people are still circling to get addicted and attracted to this bait. And he just feels so happy to think about others who are trapped in this bait by touching to this bait. Because why he was happy about thinking ill of others is because the world had never been kind to him. No one just gave any sort of acceptance to this man in their life. So you also like to think ill about others. And he says that I know some faces who got trapped in this snare, in this bait, and they have put their life in a big trap, unable to come out once they have touched this bait. And some people are still circling to get attracted towards this bait. And indirectly, he is giving caution that once you find yourself greedy and attracted towards this bait, it is impossible for you to come out from the trap. Okay? So this is what he was just talking about, the whole world. He is considering the whole world as a rat trap, where some people are circling round the bait, some people have already touched the bait, and he feels so happy thinking about the people who just touched the bait. And he says that in this world, riches, joys, shelter, food and clothing were considered to be the baits. Just like in a rat trap, pork and cheese are kept in order to attract a rat. Okay? I think we can stop here. We can continue in the next class. Thank you all. Have a great day.